Hi everyone, bonjour à tous.
Good evening everyone, and for our friends im deutschsprachigen Raum, herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Vlog. And our vlog is Journey to the Chateau. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Stuart.
And this episode is about a chateau that we saw on our last trip to France. And we could actually use video this time, so
Yay.
It's very different.
And it's called A Chateau in the Woods.
And it was.
Located about 47 kilometers south of Châteauroux, in the department of Indre, this 19th century chateau was built on the site of a former 13th century priory. The town of Châteauroux has a population of over 43,000, and it was founded and named after its own 10th century castle. The original castle was burnt by a fire in 1395, but it was rebuilt as the Châteauroux in the 14th and 15th centuries, and is now a registered historic monument. This 19th century chateau of 593 square meters was designed with 3 levels that include 10 bedrooms, 4 full bathrooms, 4 water closets, and a vaulted cellar, all on approximately 20 hectares of woodland, park, and meadow. The turrets that frame the facade are copies of the turrets from the village church. This large chateau property includes the front gate, the chateau, a workshop and kennel, a coach house with a groomsman cottage, an open hangar, a garage and woodshed, and a well house and chicken house.
Yet another day, yet another chateau. This is in the area of Châteauroux in France, and arriving there shortly before the realtor, this gate is just fantastic, and then you have this long linden tree alley, or lime tree, as you say in Britain. And in the distance, you can see the chateau. Very impressive. That just was really lovely.
Yes. Yeah, and we got there actually, I don't know, like, maybe 15 minutes or so before the realtor got there. And so we had a nice chance to really look around the outside of the chateau and the property for a bit before they got there.
So the flowers in the grass, those, I'm going to butcher this because I never had Latin in school. It's cyclamen or cyclamen. They are very pretty. And the chateau is quite large. It's very square and has beautiful grounds. The chateau is built out of solid granite. The walls are, I don't know, at least 2 feet thick. And so they keep the chateau cool in the summer, but also frigid in the winter.
Right. Of course, one of the things that we really loved about this chateau was the symmetry.
Gorgeous. And the variety of trees on the lot were just amazing, framing the chateau in a way that made it almost a little magical.
The ground floor of the chateau consisted of an entrance hall and corridor with walk-in closets and a water closet, a large salon, a smaller salon, a library, a back vestibule with staircase, a kitchen with pantry and laundry room, And the dining room.
We entered through the rear entrance straight into the kitchen. And the kitchen in itself was really, really nice.
Yeah, it was a nice large kitchen.
Yes. Very square, very pretty with large windows. It had the laundry room or scullery right next to it. Once upon a time, there was a large wood-burning or coal-burning stove in that nook. Really lovely. The tiles are original. They're actually all framed in wrought iron. And the brightness of this kitchen is lovely. And then there was this amazing pantry. I love that pantry. These two built-in cabinets were fantastic. Loved it. However, don't be fooled. The one on the right is a walkthrough.
Right. It actually you can pass right through there into the main central hallway.
Right, but there's a toilet in there.
But there is, yes. As you pass through to go into the main hallway, you're going by a toilet.
So when we walked through there, it kind of startled me. It was very funny because I didn't expect it.
I guess they needed a place to put it because this is actually the only toilet on the ground floor.
Absolutely, yes. From the kitchen, next room is the dining room with beautiful wall panelings or moldings, actually. Lovely wooden fireplace mantle.
Beautiful.
Again, windows, stunning views. It overlooks the front. Love that room. This room basically needs only a little TLC. There is nothing wrong with that room. Unlike the kitchen that would have needed to be quite substantially redone with the cabinets from the 1950s or 60s falling apart, but this room did not need much work.
So from the dining room, we go into what is actually the front entrance.
And from there you enter the Grand Salon, as the realtor called it. It's a large living room with a very underwhelming fireplace mantle.
Yeah, and it was missing its trumeau.
Leaving the bit underwhelming Grand Salon, going into what they call an Empire Salon or Empire. I don't even know what to say about this room. There's some elements that are gorgeous, and these paintings on the walls, I don't know when they were actually put there, but they're really odd.
Yeah, they are. They remind me of, I think during the French Revolution, they started doing political cartoons. And that's what it reminds me of, are like the political cartoons that they did. Not exactly what I would prefer them to be, like actual paintings, like a really pretty scenic painting, and not these cartoon kind of images.
Now, the thing is, this chateau was built in the 19th century. Not at the beginning of the 19th century, and they did a really good job in certain rooms to do it in the style of 18th century or 17th century. This room they just went a little wrong, I think. But it's not that it's not a lovely room, but I don't want to look at this every day.
So the next room that we went into from the Empire Salon was the library.
Beautiful woodwork, panelings, cabinets, all custom fitted. Really pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. This was probably one of my favorite rooms in the chateau.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I concur. And clearly a room that basically needed to be cleaned, a lick of paint, and ready to move in. Leaving the library in the back entrance hall, or vestibule, and so the staircase is in the back corner, back left corner of the house, looking at it, or the chateau from the front. Beautiful, well-built staircase, lovely, and between the entrance hall and the vestibule in the back, there's this long, wide hallway. With left and right, floor to ceiling, fitted, beautiful cabinetry.
Right.
The square landings are so beautifully laid with a parquet. It's just stunning. And then, so this is the second landing, and up we go into yet another half staircase into a bathroom.
Yeah, this was kind of unusual, but actually it was kind of cool, right? So
yes.
It was that when you went halfway up the stairs up to the first floor, there was actually a full bathroom on the landing on the way up.
And not long ago, the owners redid every bathroom wall with these tiles and put in new vanities. That, you know, you can always argue about taste. Wouldn't necessarily been what we would have picked, and that's of course for us always a problem, because if you take that out, then what? I mean, it's new. Taking that out is really not environmentally friendly.
The first floor of the chateau consisted of a large landing, 4 bedrooms, a dressing room, an office, 3 bathrooms, and 3 water closets. So from the first floor landing, we went down a small hallway and saw the first full bathroom and one of the first bedrooms on the first floor. From the first bedroom, we went then into the second bedroom, which was sort of a plain, simple...
completely nondescript room.
Right. The only thing that was interesting about it is that apparently at one time it had one of the hidden doors that went out into the central hallway.
From that very nondescript bedroom, which I assume was at some point a boudoir living room, we entered a little hallway with a water closet, which was very nicely redone, into the largest bedroom of the chateau. Beautiful, overlooking the front, beautiful fireplace, very nice room. But again, has had, other than the fireplace, no architectural features. over the entrance hall on the first floor is a large bathroom. Very nicely done, and I love those blue tiles on the floor, the blue and white checkerboard. It's really pretty. And like Terry and Ash at Château de la Salle, this bathroom had doors added from not just the hallway, but also 2 bedrooms. So there were 3 entrances to 1 bathroom. Not a great, so that needed some work. So out of the bathroom, there is actually a very small dressing room, and then you enter what they call the office, which is just another bedroom. So there's clearly a lot of space, a lot of bedrooms, very, very appealing. So this is yet another bedroom with water closet right next to it. Beautiful views again, the same fireplace mantle or similar in every room. Very nice, nicely done, but very nondescript.
The second floor attic of the chateau consisted of a large living room, a games room, 1 full bathroom, and 7 additional bedrooms. Now we're going up to the second floor, which in the listing they actually referred to as an attic, but it is actually the second floor of the chateau.
This was where the servants' rooms and children's rooms were. And only a third of that entire floor had heat that was working.
Right. These rooms that we're looking at first, one was a bathroom with a water closet. That's a full bathroom and a water closet. And then it went into a bedroom. And these rooms were the only ones up on this floor that actually had heat in them.
Coming from the front of the house into the big central living room area, and then there were these small rooms that looked like stables.
Yeah, it was 5 bedrooms all lined up in a row, all with these wood panelings, and I have to say that I did find them to be a little creepy.
There was nothing appealing about this.
No.
I mean, nothing. We said, wow, this is so nice.
Right. Yeah, so there was a second room up here, a large room that was the games room. It had a billiard table in it. I think we had a discussion with the realtor about how somebody would have gotten a billiard table up here, or how we would get it out of here if we didn't want it here anymore.
That's true, we did actually. I remember this wood paneling from my grandmother's house and my grandparents' house. I never liked it. It's my taste. Or it's not my taste. I couldn't stand it. And it was just such a depressing room. So we knew if we would buy this, we would have to remove everything, reconfigure, which is, you know, nice to have a clean slate on the other hand. But we weren't quite convinced that that's what we wanted to do.
After leaving the second floor, we went all the way back down and went into the cellar, which the staircase was off of the kitchen entrance.
And this is an amazing cellar. It is very large. It has, I think, 3 parts.
Yeah.
Vaulted ceilings, and this used to be a priory. So this was a very old building, and the cellars were actually old. The utilities in the chateau were all down in the cellar. There was a basically brand new gas burner for the radiators. The water and electric main was all down here. Great shape. Beautiful rooms, And the fact that this did not have a solid floor but gravel, so if there's ever some water issue, the water just trickles away. It doesn't stand there. So there was no bad smell or a musky smell. This was a dry, beautiful cellar. Having finished the interior of the chateau, we turned our attention to the outbuildings, which there are two that were stables and coach house before. There's a big hangar, a smaller hangar slash garage, a whole chicken house, which was adorable, really cute, and was all centered in the back. Beautiful symmetry. And the opening in that wall of trees was actually a long road that went all the way to the back of the property, and you could walk about 10 minutes to get there with a large white gate. So very appealing, really interesting.
Right. It actually was, you had seen the LA that was in the front, and basically this was a straight line continuation on the back of the chateau that is continued through the property on the back side.
But because it's 80% of the property is in the back, it was really long, and it had oak trees, 150 old oak trees in it. It had chestnut trees, horse chestnuts, and linden trees, beech trees, and a lot of brambles. It was just amazing. So this little cute square building is not what it looks like. It looks like an outhouse, but it's not. It is actually the well house. And beyond that is the chicken house or poultry house. And on the right side, you can see just above the grass, it's like a short wall. That was actually all fenced in for the chicken and poultry to have quite a large area where they could roam. And the chicken or the nests were accessible through these little white doors on the left wall to take out the eggs. So seeing the whole chateau and outbuildings from the back, as you can see, it's very harmonious. It's really beautifully situated. In the distance here is where livestock was grazing, and then here in the distance you can see how far away the gate is. You can hardly see it, but this is a long way away, and it's not even the end of the property. It's quite remarkable.
Right, and this property was quite large. And so one of the things that the realtor had encouraged us to do before we left was in this wooded area, there are just a series of different kind of paths in order to follow. And so we went around and we actually followed a path for quite a while and only realized that we had only basically traveled a fraction of what this whole property was.
Yes, and it's such a beautiful forest, very tempting. Definitely a chateau that we talked quite a bit about. Now this chateau, the things we really loved about this, for me or for us, the gate and that beautiful alley, the linden tree or lime tree alley, was just stunning and very imposing, and the symmetry was fantastic.
Right, and the size of the property. I mean, it was a very large property, that was beautiful. The outbuildings in the back were really good. They were all symmetrical to the back of the chateau. And there were several of them, so they all could be used for something, gîtes or whatever we wanted to use for it. And then for the inside, everything on the ground floor was actually worked really well for us for our checklist, right? It was a large kitchen. It was a dining room that was beautiful, that had paneling on the walls. We had a library, with the wood paneling and the wood shelves.
Well, the flow of the rooms was great because you could, basically go through from the front entree, double doors, and then that long, wide corridor with paneled.
All the built-in cabinets.
Built-in cabinets. They were floor to ceiling, beautifully done. But you could also walk from either the salon to the back or the dining room towards the back. It was fantastic. Now, one thing that kind of hit us right away when we were in the chateau was that it was actually quite nice fall when we visited. So it was about 60 degrees outside. That's about 14 degrees centigrade. And in the chateau itself, it was about 47 degrees, 45. It was, which is like 7 to 8 degrees centigrade or Celsius for also Deutschsprachigen Freunde. It was like meat storage.
Yeah.
So meat locker. It was extremely cold, and those 2.5 feet thick granite walls. It's great for the summer because it keeps the warmth out, but in the winter it also keeps the cold in. And I was thinking, oh good Lord, what that's going to cost for heating.
Yeah.
Which you have in every chateau. It's not the main point, but it was so cold. And we've seen other properties and none was ever this frigid. So it was kind of like a little damper, and overall, we really enjoyed this property. But the one thing is that one thing that kind of, it's those turrets.
Right, and the one thing that we didn't mention about the turrets on the chateau was that while we were on the second floor with the realtor, he did show us that there was a small door.
Access panel, sorry. Yes, it was an access panel. It was,
this big. That he opened up, and this basically was the only access to inside the turrets. So they basically were an architectural decorative element that had no function to the house itself.
Yes, purely decorative.
Right.
And it reminded me of those, firecrackers. I mean, like those rockets you shoot up. Now it was modeled after, as Stuart found out, after the church in town. I get it, but it really was not anything I was in love with, or Stuart. So now it would, if the chateau in itself would have been exactly what we would have loved, that would not have deterred us, of course.
No.
But overall, it was, or is, a beautiful property. With a lot of potential, but not precisely what we wanted. Now, I know there are people who say, well, you'll never get precisely what you want. And we know that. That's a good point. And yes, you're right. However, there are things that properties that speak to you, and others who are not screaming at you, buy me, move in. So this was not one of them that screamed at us.
Right.
But again, it was a beautiful property.
Yeah, it was. And the other thing is that, this is actually a property that we saw on our most recent trip to France.
Yes.
And, we've shared with you what our checklist is. And, I think that when we were there this past time, we were still trying to be open to something that wasn't specifically just a 17th century chateau, right? So that's why we had looked at several other chateaus that were, a 19th century, to see if there was a possibility, maybe there's something about them that, we would know when we were there, this is the place, right? So we weren't going to be closed-minded about the time period of it, but I think once again, when we saw this chateau, it sort of sealed this idea for us that we really wanted the older 17th century chateau.
Or 18th.
Or 18th century
yes.
chateau.
Right? I mean, it's true. There are these beautiful 19th century properties. They're really pretty, and some of them They look like wedding cakes.
Right.
They're really pretty, but it's not really what we're in love with.
It's not what we're looking for, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it helped us to distill down what we really want, and I think that's really a good learning lesson again.
Right.
As a little side note, so this year for the holidays, we got ourselves a little something because we couldn't travel. So we got 2 books. One is The Smaller Houses and Gardens of Versailles between 1680 and 1815. That is this book. Fantastic. It includes the Château de la Lanterne, which is now the country seat of the French President Macron. The second one is Small Manor Houses and Farmsteads in France, which, fantastic again, shows off smaller estates and true country life, not those ginormous royal residences like Chambord or Amboise, or large noble seats like Le Louvre or Montgeoffroy. So it was a lot of fun to go through these. Kind of made our Christmas a little bit.
So thank you for joining us. Au revoir.
Und für unsere deutschsprachigen Freunde, vielen Dank für eure Unterstützung. And we wish you a good night. Thank you so much, and see you next time at the Journey to the Chateau.
Bye.
Au revoir. À bientôt.
If you enjoyed this video, please use the like feature to let us know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our Journey to the Chateau YouTube channel if you'd like to see more. Once you've subscribed, you can tap the notification bell in order to ring it, which will allow you to receive all notifications from our channel. Thank you.